So today we're diving into a story that's thousands of years old.
Thousands.
Really is. It's about Abraham buying a burial place for his wife, Sarah.
Yeah.
And now I know what you're thinking. Oh, no, not another history lesson.
Right.
But trust me on this. This deep dive is absolutely packed with insights into ancient cultures, negotiation tactics, even the importance of owning property.
It's amazing how much resonates even today.
Isn't it fascinating?
Yeah.
So we're in the book of Genesis, chapter 23,
Mm.
just to set the stage. Abraham and Sarah, they're these really important biblical figures.
Right.
And when Sarah passes away,
Mm-hmm.
Abraham, who is a foreigner living among the Hittites, needs to find a place to bury her.
Right.
Now, you might think that finding a burial place, it wouldn't be that complicated, but he's not just trying to, follow local customs. He's dealing with a completely different culture, a completely different set of rules and expectations.
Yeah. And I mean, this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because Abraham approaches the Hittites about securing a burial place.
Mhm.
And their response, it's surprising to say the least. They essentially tell him to take his pick, any burial place he wants,
Wow.
completely free of charge.
It does seem a little too good to be true.
Right.
Were they just that generous, or was there something else going on, do you think?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, on the surface, it seems incredibly generous. But imagine you're Abraham in this situation.
Right.
You're a foreigner, you're grieving, and suddenly you're being offered this incredibly valuable land for free.
You'd have to wonder, wouldn't you? Are there strings attached to this? This offer could have been a way for the Hittites to gain influence with someone that they clearly saw as powerful, maybe even secure some kind of alliance. It's a classic example of how generosity can be a really powerful tool, even in ancient diplomacy.
That makes a lot of sense, especially since the text actually describes Abraham as a mighty prince. Clearly not just some random nomad passing through.
No.
But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is what got me. Abraham refuses their offer.
Yeah.
He insists on paying for the land.
Mm-hmm.
And not just for any land, for a specific cave owned by a man named Ephron.
Right.
Why make things more difficult? Why not just take the free burial plot?
It's tempting to see it as just being polite, but refusing that gift, that was likely a power move in itself.
Remember, we're talking about securing a claim to land here.
Right.
Accepting a gift, even a generous one, that could always be challenged later.
Right.
There's no guarantee it would stay with his family, or that someone wouldn't try to kick it back down the line.
Oh, okay.
But a purchase, now that's legally binding, it's a public declaration of ownership, and it creates a permanent legacy for his family.
It's like he's laying down roots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a way.
He's making a statement.
Yeah. And this wasn't just any plot of land. This was the Cave of Machpelah, a place that still holds immense significance today.
Absolutely.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's rewind back to that negotiation. Tell me about Ephron, this cave owner. What's he like?
Ephron, he's fascinating because he's like the embodiment of a skilled negotiator.
Even by today's standards.
Mm-hmm.
So he initially downplays the cave's value, almost as if he doesn't even want to sell.
Oh, I've seen that tactic.
Right.
Yeah.
But it still works. By acting reluctant, like it's a big ask, and downplaying the value, Ephron is actually creating this illusion of a great deal for Abraham.
It's clever.
It is, isn't it?
Okay.
And this tactic really preys on that human desire to feel like we're getting one over on the other person,
Totally.
to feel like we won the negotiation.
Yeah. Like you got to steal.
Exactly. And, who knows? Maybe Ephron was hoping to spark a bidding war,
Yeah.
attract other buyers with this public display of wealth and negotiation.
Well, it worked on Abraham because they eventually settle on a price. 400 shekels of silver. I have to admit, I had to do a little research on this.
Right.
400 shekels back then, that was a huge amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
Like buying a small house, serious.
It really puts into perspective how important this land purchase was to Abraham.
Yeah.
He was willing to pay a premium, maybe even the equivalent of his entire life savings to secure this.
Wow.
This wasn't just a business transaction. This was about securing a proper burial place for his beloved wife, Sarah, and ensuring his family's legacy.
And it wasn't just the cave itself. The deal included the whole field surrounding the cave, even the trees on the property.
Exactly. The text makes it very clear that Abraham purchased the entire field, all the trees, everything. This detail, it really highlights how land ownership was conceived back then. It wasn't just about the plot of earth itself, but everything on
It
it.
was a package deal.
It was a package deal.
Wow.
And a very public declaration of what he valued.
This deal was a big deal.
It was. And the passage goes even further to emphasize that everything was done by the book. There were witnesses, there were legal agreements. This was a legally binding transaction, a matter of public record.
Wow.
This wasn't just a casual handshake agreement.
Right.
It was setting a precedent. And remember, this story is part of a religious text, one that's been passed down for generations. And by including this level of detail about the transaction, it highlights just how important these concepts of property rights, legal agreements, fair dealings, how important they were even thousands of years ago.
This whole story is amazing to me. It's just incredible how a story about buying a burial plot can reveal so much about ancient real estate,
I know.
about their legal practices, even their social status.
Absolutely. And it serves as a reminder for us today that even those seemingly simple transactions, they can hold much deeper meaning.
Right.
What we choose to purchase, how we negotiate, the value we place on things, it all reflects who we are and what matters most to us.
I like that. So next time you're negotiating a deal, whether it's for a car or a house or even just, a used textbook, think about Abraham's story. Ask yourself what's really important to me. What price am I willing to pay to secure what matters most?
That's a great question.
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
Thanks for another great deep dive.
My pleasure.
I always learn so much from these conversations.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Until next time.
See you then.
Thank you for spending this time with us. Toby, Eleanor, and our team of researchers are working hard to produce more episodes. If you value what we're doing here, please consider subscribing and sharing the word. Additionally, our podcast, RSS, and Patreon links can be found below. Listener support is what makes our work possible. Join us next time for another deep dive. God bless.